If you've been following my channel for a while, you probably enjoy Slavic fairy tales, folklore, village culture, and so on. You can find all of this in Scarlet Deer Inn, an indie game developed by Attu Games. They are still working on the game, but recently they released a demo which I played a few weeks ago, and it hyped me up so much that I wanted to share my impressions. I first heard about Scarlet Deer Inn sometime in early 2023, shortly after I started my channel. I work as a video editor at Czech television, so I often see various reports on TV in the background. And one time I saw a report about Czech video games, which ended with a mention of Scarlet Deer Inn as a Slavic game. That immediately caught my attention, since I was just starting a channel focused on Slavic folklore and was searching for similar projects. I started researching the game, and what first intrigued me was that every frame of the character animation is physically embroidered first, then scanned and placed into the game. This is one of the main selling points of the game that I really like, because it evokes Slavic embroidery. You can even see in the game that the speech bubbles are made in the style of such embroidery. And it's a funny coincidence that even before I knew about this game, I chose the same style for the visual identity of my channel, thumbnails, and so on. As I was researching the game further, I found out that Attu Games is an indie game development studio run only by husband and wife team Eva and Lukáš Navrátil. What I really liked was that they have pretty well done medieval costumes and also can play period instruments, and it seemed that they are making the soundtrack for Scarlet Deer Inn themselves. And as I later find out, they did to some point, but someone else started doing the soundtrack for them eventually. More on that later though. From their Facebook profiles, I found out that they are fans of both the Witcher books and games, and Scarlet Deer Inn itself is clearly somewhat inspired by it. I tried messaging them on Facebook, telling them that I'd like to make a video about their game at some point, and send them my video on pilgrims as an example of my work. They replied saying that they already follow my channel, which surprised me quite a bit, and it showed me that they really have their ear to the ground when they are following a small channel like mine. I had just under 2000 subscribers at the time. We agreed that we'd make a video about their game sometime in the future once they had something really worth presenting. About a year later, I met them at Conmorhen, where we got to know each other better, and I started considering them friends. It turns out we have a very similar taste. I also found out that they have been attending Blavicon as well the previous years, so as you can see, they are actual members of the Witcher fandom like me, and they truly enjoy Slavic folklore. And now finally to the Scarlet Deer Inn demo. It's fairly short and you can complete it in about 45 minutes. I think it's well crafted because it shows you the basic game mechanics, introduces you to the setting and story, and sets a great atmosphere, which is done really well. I love the peaceful vibe of the medieval village set in the picturesque countryside. However, about halfway through the demo, a dark twist is introduced, as something sinister is happening beneath the surface, and everything isn't as welcoming as it might first appear. I think Attu Games nailed this, because to me this contrast is at the core of Slavic folklore. On one hand, there's the beauty of the countryside, village life, fairy tales, customs and traditions, but that's not all. It's often accompanied by tragedy. People killing each other, being chopped to pieces, or being murdered by Slavic creatures. So beneath the seemingly beautiful exterior, there's often something dark, malevolent and sinister lurking. You can see this in Kytice, which I've already made several videos about, or in the first Witcher around the Murky Waters village. It's captured in some folk songs, and now you can experience it in Scarlet Deer Inn. I really like that the demo presents a mystery, and when it ends on a cliffhanger, you'll want to keep playing to find out what's really happening in this village. As for the art style, I've seen several people in YouTube comments mention that it reminds them of Studio Ghibli's work, and when I asked Lukáš from Attu Games about it, he confirmed that it's one of their biggest inspirations. When I asked about the Slavic folklore elements in the game, he told me that they draw a lot of inspiration from this Polish book about Slavic creatures. I have some Czech books on similar topics, but I didn't know about this one. It's unfortunately only in Polish, but I immediately ordered it anyway because it looks beautiful. It's just hard to come by. I ordered one of the last 2 copies from Amazon. So I'd like to thank Lukáš for the recommendation. One thing I missed in Scarlet Deer Inn was ambient music, especially because when music did play, I enjoyed the game that much more. I assumed that this was something that's still in development and would be added later, but Lukáš told me that it's not the case. Apparently, the plan is to refine the ambient sounds, because right now they are just simple placeholders, and reserve music for only the important and emotional moments. According to them, the music works so well and people like it precisely because it doesn't play everywhere. He said that when something is everywhere, it's actually nowhere. And while I understand this and admit it's true in some cases, I still think it's a shame, because ambient music is often my favorite part of a soundtrack, sometimes even more than the main tracks, like in Kingdom Come Deliverance or The Witcher. And it's the ambient music that can elevate the atmosphere of different locations to a completely new level. Nevertheless, I understand why Attu Games made this decision, and I don't want to question it. I also get that making ambient music for every part of the game would be a lot of work and therefore expensive for them. I should mention that at some point Jakub Špiřík started composing the music. Lukáš told me that he also plays in Jakub's band called Sukuba Ensemble, where they perform covers of game soundtracks, fantasy and medieval music, folk songs, The Witcher music and so on. I really hope that the Scarlet Deer Inn soundtrack will be easily available on Spotify, for example, because I really like most of the tracks. In particular, I'm really looking forward to the one that plays during the part where you have to run after this creature, because it's a real banger, and I can totally imagine playing it on speaker at our bonfire parties or medieval events. To conclude the video, I'd like to say that recently I've been feeling a certain burnout regarding my enthusiasm for The Witcher and to some extent folklore as well. I was much more excited about Kingdom Come Deliverance and medieval reenactment. However, when I finally made time to play the demo for Scarlet Deer Inn, it reignited the spark I felt when I started this channel a few years ago. I still don't like the direction the Witcher brand and fandom seems to be heading in, but seeing the result of the work this small team has put into their original project brought back my passion for creating videos, mainly about folklore and fairy tales, but The Witcher as well, it seems. I really had no interest in making videos about it lately, but over the past few days I've started thinking about new ideas for Witcher-related content. So slowly but surely I'm beginning to feel excited about it again. And for that I owe big thanks to Scarlet Deer Inn and Attu Games. If you can, please go wishlist the game on Steam, especially if it piques your interest. And of course, try the demo for yourself and feel free to send Attu Games some feedback. I'm sure it would make their day. That's everything for today, thanks for watching and see you next time.